This work session, regular meeting of the Township Council is called to order. In accordance with Section 5 of the Open Public Meeting Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, be advised that adequate notice of this work session, regular meeting of the Township Council of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, was made by the posting on the bulletin board at the municipal complex and transmitted to the officially designated newspapers, a list of dates annually indicating that this work session regular meeting would take place at the Franklin Township Municipal Complex at 7:00 p.m. on Tuesday, June 11th, 2013. In addition, a copy of this notice is and has been available to the public and is on file in the office of the municipal clerk. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Remain standing for the invocation, which will be given by me. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. As we gather here today as members of the Township Council, we are ever mindful of the opportunities to render our service to fellow citizens in our community, keeping in mind always the enduring values of life, exerting our efforts in those areas and on those things upon which future generations can build with confidence. Let's continue to strive to make a better world, and let the Council draw strength by being compassionate in our renderings and considerate of all people, and with wisdom do our work. And when we're mindful of our citizens, I'll note, which happens occasionally, like did this weekend, the sad passing on the roads of one of our residents in an auto accident. We'll all certainly be diligent in our travelings. Amen.
Amen.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll of the council.
Councilman Chase, Councilwoman Francois, Councilman Kramer,
Here.
Mayor Levine,
Here.
Councilman Prasad,
Here.
Councilman Regan,
I believe I'm here.
Deputy Mayor Sherman, Councilman Vasanella, Councilman Wright.
Okay. Thank you. We're following along on our agenda. If you want an agenda or the associated resolutions or ordinances, they are here by our clerk, Ms. McCarthy. Please feel free to get up at any time and get what you would like over there. We're now at number 5 on the agenda, which is commendations and proclamations, of which we do not have any for this evening. Do my things. So now I come to item number 6, which is the mayor's report. And my mug for this meeting is from the New Jersey Library Association. Just a reminder, our Franklin Township Branch Library is open and thriving, and our library continues to have, compared to last year, compared to prior months, more and more patrons each month in all categories: video, audio, books, computer use, anything you want to think of, programming for kids, for adults. It's a great place. You can get a lot of things at no cost. And again, our branch is still open. Well, we'll be open for a long time down in Franklin Park. Of course, our main branch right over here. So we, in a few moments, actually after the mayor's and deputy mayor's report, we will come to public discussion. That's where people can speak of anything of a general nature. That'll be the only time the meeting will be open to the general public to say anything, which is on your mind. We're glad to hear it, but I'll let you know specifically at that point. And I'll let you know what our policies are on speaking. Our meetings are generally the second and fourth Tuesdays of the month. There are exceptions with July, August, and December, where it's only the second Tuesday of the month. In a moment, We may speak about shifting that August meeting because of a special election, the primary for U.S. Senate, but we're going to get to that under council discussion items. So always keep your eye on our website. That has everything there. And on the website, you can see what's happening on the meetings beforehand. You can look at the agenda. You can click on the ordinances, resolutions, see it all. There was a general primary, June 4th. Congratulations to those who won and those who did not win, because they were willing to serve. Again, I mentioned about those special elections, and we did have a Memorial Day parade that went over very well. As far as forthcoming events, I've spoken about this organization, Building One New Jersey, which I'm been helping out. They try to have New Jersey come with one voice so that all the municipalities, such as Franklin, get our share of the education funding, and that's all done properly. And this is being recorded on Tuesday, the 11th, and on Thursday, June 13th, we, Franklin, are going to be hosting them here in the council chambers. That's open to the public. Everyone is invited and encouraged to attend, and there'll be a large regional meeting on Saturday. I'm still involved with them, hoping to get our influence and our fair share of things done. As we're approaching July, yes, we are having our fireworks on July 3rd in the evening. That's Wednesday. And recently, if this could affect things, I was at a meeting with some other mayors and legislators at Somerset Medical Center. They are strongly considering merging. Major candidates are Robert Wood Johnson, University Hospital, and Atlantic Health Systems, if I got that right. So it's not a done deal. They're doing their due diligence. They're seeing what's best. I was kind of lobbying for Robert Wood Johnson. Just make that no secret. I don't know where they're going to go because we're in between the two, and I would like to see more of a corridor of doctors and medical services running right through Franklin. I think if we do that, because they'll be sending patients back and forth and various tests and such as that, I think that could be good for our economy, for growing jobs, for paying taxes, which help the rest of us. So I will certainly keep you posted. They are likely to make a decision fairly soon, so I invite your opinions on that. That was my opinion that I was pushing with them. So that concludes the mayor's report. So now we come to item number 7, Deputy Mayor's report. So we have Deputy Mayor Roz Sherman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would just like to say a few words about a presentation that I was very pleased to be part of, and you may have heard some of this before through some of the things that Councilman Kramer has done, but I just wanted to say congratulations to Franklin Township, to the manager, and to the Director of Public Works, our engineering director, for hiring someone who is looking at our water system. It's not a very exciting topic. It's not something that people are terribly interested in, but it's the infrastructure that deteriorates when people are not paying attention to it. I consider us to be extremely fortunate to have hired a gentleman who has water background. That is what he does. That's the field that he has specialized in, and has come up with a plan that will allow us to replace our aging water infrastructure rather than wait for it to collapse around us. And of course, that will be a cost, but it's a necessary cost. It's like bridges or tunnels. These are things that you want them to last forever, but they don't. They require maintenance, they require smart management, and I think Franklin has done a terrific job in hiring someone that will give us that and allow us to maintain our water system for many, many years down the road. So congratulations to the manager for the foresight and the director of engineering, and congratulations, Franklin. It's a good thing. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We're now at item number 8, public discussion. Again, this is the time where anyone can speak of something of a general nature. This will be the only time during the meeting. And as is our policy, we ask everyone to limit your comments to 5 minutes. That way we can hear from people and go on with the meeting and see what's what our answers are. So when you come up, please give us your name and address, enunciate it clearly, or give us the spelling. And there'll be a timer. When you hear a tone goes off, that means 3 minutes has elapsed. When you hear multiple tones go off, that'll mean that your 5 minutes has elapsed. I'm going to ask you to wrap up your thoughts at that point. If you haven't, feel free to ask us questions during your time. If you want us to answer at the end so it doesn't eat up your 5 minutes, that's fine, let us know. We are being audio and video recorded, broadcast on our cable access. Please direct all your comments to the council, and if we're going to answer, we will so direct. So, is there a motion to open the meeting for public discussion?
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion is carried. Meeting is open for public discussion on any item of interest. Anyone interested in speaking, please raise your hand. When I recognize you, come to the podium and give us your name and address, please. Mr. Warner? I think.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Russ Warner. I live at
This-
26
wait.
Bloomfield Avenue.
And what, okay, make,
On or-
No.
it'll be, okay, while he's coming to turn on, just as a reminder, keep yourself about 3 or 4 inches from the microphone. That way we hear
Warner,
you.
26 Bloomfield
Go
Avenue.
ahead.
Somerset,
purpose that your mic wasn't on when you were speaking.
probably. Along with other people around the state, I was very disappointed when our rotund governor decided to hold a special election, which is going to cost maybe 2 elections, maybe 3, that's going to cost the taxpayers of New Jersey anywhere from $12 to $24 million. I don't think anybody here really wants to get involved spending that kind of money. I would hope the council would have a declaration to the governor objecting to this type of spending, wasting this kind of money. So I'm suggesting that the council come up with whatever is involved to let the governor know we're not happy here in Franklin Township with what the program that he's presented. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Councilman Regan.
Thank you. Just on that point, to answer directly based upon some input from other council members, I did ask for a resolution to be put on tonight's agenda that this council would vote on that, basically offering our opinion that there shouldn't be a separate one. So that is on tonight's agenda.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Ms. Moravik. Yeah, we can.
I think I might be able to do it.
Yeah, someone can help them with the mic.
Get the mic down.
To the mayor and council of Franklin Township. My name is Virginia Moravik. I'm a resident of 199 Pierce Street in the Corman communities, the corporate communities. I've been a resident there for 10 years. And I have 3 short points. My first point is that since the ShopRite has come into the area, which is a long block down from Pierce Street on Elizabeth, and the surrounding strip malls, there is no way for our residents of Corman communities to get there by way of walking, except for a sidewalk. There are no sidewalks in that area. So the number one concern that I have, and for my safety, using a motorized chair, I cannot do that in the motorized chair. I'd be on the street. And I think it's very dangerous. We have over 400 apartments there and about maybe 1,000 residents with children and spouses that do not work and do not have a second car. They need transportation. They need a sidewalk to get to the ShopRite. So that's number one. Number two, I've made up a petition to the state of New Jersey and to New Jersey Transit regarding the issue that I spoke to last time I was here, and I'd like to know if there are any councilmen that can give me advice about how to move the state of New Jersey in getting a New Jersey transit line, which would help all of us in the surrounding 55 and older communities, as well as my corporate community on Pierce Street. And if anyone, and I don't know if I need permission, but could I possibly ask the residents here to sign my petition later in the meeting? And then the third point is that last time I asked you to remember the transportation study that was done earlier, and I'd like to really push for that because with thousands and thousands of more residents, we need to expand the services, and I understand they're being cut instead of enlarging them. So I'd like to really press for that, and thank you for listening.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Vornlocker?
Ms. Moravec, I'd just like to address actually all three of your points, because since the last council meeting, I've had the opportunity to do some work on all three. Councilman Prasad at the last council meeting raised the issue of the lack of a sidewalk between Pierce Street and the new stores at the intersection of Old New Brunswick and New Brunswick Roads and Elizabeth Avenue. Our engineer did a preliminary investigation into cost. Councilman, about $90,000 is the estimate for sidewalks from Corman Communities up Elizabeth Avenue. There are some issues with grade and wetlands that would have to be investigated, and it's also county right-of-way, so obviously the county would have to be involved as well. We can discuss that at the upcoming Public Works Committee meeting that's scheduled for this week. And one of the things we'll be discussing is sidewalks now that we have an adopted budget. So that's your sidewalk between your community and the ShopRite and the shopping centers nearby ShopRite. As far as the second two, last week I had a meeting with a representative of RideWise regarding both the traffic, the transportation study that was done several years ago to include a loop for shuttle buses within Franklin Township to coincide with the routes that are already in place with the dash shuttles from the two train stations into the Davidson Avenue area. I asked that they consider including our senior developments along Elizabeth Avenue and Schoolhouse and Weston Roads, as well as Pierce Street, based on your input from the other day. They said that they would consider that, and we're going to try to reevaluate our county transportation routes as we move forward. So that's what's been done since the last time you were here.
And I can petition the state of New Jersey?
You can certainly petition the state of New Jersey. New Jersey Transit is an organization that if you want, you can contact me, and I have some contact numbers in the bus division that I'd be more than happy to provide to you, and you can contact them directly.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I also might suggest that you contact Assemblyman Shevakula, his office is on Easton Avenue, but he represents this district, and speak with his aide and see if he can't get behind this. You'd be much better off if you have a state official working on your behalf.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else wish to speak? Yes, sir. While you're coming out, I'll note a change to the agenda for us and everyone. We had, I think it was a resolution regarding Hampton Chase and their issues, detention, and that has been an ordinance, meaning it's going to be voted on today, and again at the end of June for final passage. Yes, sir, go ahead.
Wonderful, actually. That's the subject that I wanted to mention.
Okay.
My name is Alex Kharazi, Kharazi. I am from 14 Margaret Drive. I'm the president of Hampton Chase Association. Actually, I've been president since 2001, and I was supposed to be president only for 3 years, but here I am after 13 years. Nobody is taking the volunteer work. We have I'm sure you probably have heard about some of the issues that we had at Hampton Chase. We are 82 homeowners, and we have some basins and some small common area that we've been maintaining. And we have been recently, actually, I might say since November, we've been approaching different councilmen and women trying to see if we can transfer the maintenance of the association and our basins to the township. And it's been a long journey. A lot of time and effort has been spent. I wanted to thank a few people because we are coming to the end of this road, and I understand that hopefully this time or in a couple of weeks the vote will be cast. I wanted first and foremost thank both Councilman Kramer and our town manager, Mr. Warnlocker, for the extra effort that these two gentlemen spent in understanding what is possible and how we can make this a win-win situation for the homeowners as well as the township. So let's give a round of applause.
Yes,
Please.
good job.
I also want to thank Councilman Chase. If you remember, we met in the Martin Luther King's breakfast, and you gave me some guidance during January how to approach, and I took your advice, and here we are. We've made a tremendous progress. Kimberly, I also want to thank you. If you remember, we got together during the St. Matthias, and you told me that if one association is having their basins taken care of by the township, there's no reason why yours cannot be, and that gave us some encouragement. And Councilman Saad, thank you so much. I wrote my first letter to you. But with me, I have a couple of gentlemen that I would like to actually, my partners, Mr. Al Del Pizzo and Al Reagan. They are the fellow board members. They've been working with me, as well as we have several homeowners here. I mean, if you raise your hand, the homeowners that you're from here.
Okay, I'm going to ask you to
can
direct,
see that.
I'm going to direct all your comments this way.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
And we have been basically going to all the homeowners during the past several months, trying to make them aware of how this can be a win-win situation for all. In fact, we walk door to door in the rain, even in the snow, to make sure that everybody comes. We had a couple of meetings where Councilman Kramer and Bob were with us. They answered the questions of the homeowners. And at the end, we said, okay, we have to pay $130,000 to the township in order for them to take care of our basins. It's a lot of money, and so this past March, actually end of March, we sent an invoice. Actually, I would say that middle of April, we sent an invoice to our homeowners because they voted 98% that they want to turn it over to township. So we want to see whether or not they can pay the money. Right, so we send the invoice at the middle of April. We asked them to send each one of them $1,500 so we can have enough money to pay $30,000. And I'm very pleased to let you know that I have a check in my hand for $130,000. So let's give a round of applause to the homeowners. So, all I'm asking you that this has been a long journey for us, and we believe this is a win-win situation for everybody, for township, for the homeowners. And when this comes to vote, please kindly vote yes, so we can move ahead and turn over. And we are ready when you are, basically. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else who would like to speak?
Seeing no one come forward, Mayor, a motion to close the public portion.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion is carried. Public
Mr. Mayor.
discussion is closed. Thank you for the input. Councilman Kramer.
Seeing that most of the audience in the room is here for that vote, I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda to bring item 15B, ordinance 402513, first reading, to this point in the agenda.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. What's happening is so that you can see the results right away. Councilman Kramer said, let's instead of waiting later in the agenda till item number 15, move that now so we could see the results. So that was moved and seconded. This is only a vote to change the agenda, not on the item, just, you know. Okay. So all in favor of amending the agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion is carried. Okay. We're going to go to item 15B, which is ordinance 4025-13. Originally, it was a resolution under item 17. Now it's an ordinance. Technically, that's why we have to do that. So what's going to happen is we're going to do this now. This is introduction. And then on June 25th, we're going to have the final vote. And then if it passed that second time, then it goes into law. Okay, so an ordinance authorizing the acquisition of certain real property identified on the township's tax map as part of lots 36.86, 36.78, and 36.85 in block 84.03 in connection with agreement for maintenance and purchase with Hampton Chase Homeowners Association. And that's basically for the fee you said, the town taking over the detention basin. The foregoing ordinance is presented to the Township Council for adoption on first reading, posting, publication in accordance with law, and public hearing and final adoption on Tuesday, January 25th, 2013, at 7 o'clock p.m. here at the Municipal Complex.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. No discussion. Madam Clerk, please poll the council on item 15B, ordinance 4025-13, please.
Councilman Chase.
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois.
Yes.
Councilman Kramer.
Yes.
Mayor Levine.
Yes.
Councilman Prasad.
Yes.
Councilman Regan.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sherman.
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella.
Yes.
Councilman Wright.
Yes.
Okay, motion is carried. So we have, that's it for this time. Again, the final vote, which I don't suspect will change, but one never knows, will come up next time, on June 25th, same time. Okay, so we appreciate your input and your diligence and your patience. Okay, so now we'll go back to the agenda, to item number 9, and that is standing committees. So, if you can certainly hang out, you don't have to, but if you want to watch, that's good too. Okay, so going to the council, reports on our standing committees. First, administration. Councilwoman, Deputy Mayor Sherman.
Right, Mr. Mayor, I was on vacation the last time there was a meeting. I don't know if there's anyone else from that committee who might want to step up and provide some background as to what happened at that meeting. If not, we can move on to the next committee.
Okay. If not,
Mr. Mayor?
Councilman Regan, for financial oversight?
No.
No, for
I'm sorry, for administration, please go ahead.
administration, please. Basically, the meeting was a relatively short meeting. We were reviewing potential ordinances that are going to come in front of, or potentially will come in front of the council in a future meeting or two. No recommendations came out of that meeting, so it was a rather mundane meeting.
Okay, thank you. Financial oversight. Anything?
Is that Councilman Kramer?
Or any of us?
Well, why don't we
Anyone.
skip
So-
over
Not
that
here,
and go on
anyone.
to another and come back?
Yeah, so I can report on that as
Yeah,
I was also
Councilman
on that. So again, that's going to sound very similar. The Finance Oversight Committee, that meeting itself didn't deal with a lot of new stuff, as you may recall. The previous meetings, most of the year, dealt with the budget items, the budget being passed at our last meeting. That topic was past us. We also looked at potentially some additional ordinances that may come in front of council in the next few meetings that may potentially have financial impact.
Okay, thank
And
you.
now that Mr. Councilman Kramer has returned, if he wants to add anything, I will be more than happy to turn it over to him.
I assume we're speaking about financial
Right.
oversight?
Yes.
It's hard to add when I don't know what you said, but
I didn't say much.
You're learning from me. I caught a little bit of what you said. One of the things that was discussed at the last financial oversight was we pay, I think, $3,000 or $5,000 a year, I forget how much, to have our energy usage audited. And how much do we pay a year? It's a nominal amount.
It's about $5,000.
And what they do basically is they look over, they do what I do, kind of, but only better. They look over their bill and they see, one, is it reasonable? But we don't just have one electric bill, we have 30 electric bills. And they look to see that it's reasonable, that if there's an increase in one, well, why was there an increase, et cetera. And we just were getting a report on the monitoring of that. One thing I hadn't realized is they just started, we had given them the contract a while ago, but it took a while to get things into place. And it's just, just really started in March. One thing that I was a little disappointed in is there are no metrics yet at this time as to whether they are saving us money or not. So we asked the manager to try to come up with some kind of metric to see if this is worthwhile. However, Councilman Regan made a very good point of this is a relatively small amount of money to pay as an insurance, essentially an insurance, to be looking over the bills more carefully than we would because they're automated to do it, and just see that we don't suddenly get a huge bill that goes unnoticed with us. So I believe that was the only other thing that happened at that meeting. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Public Safety Committee.
Mayor, we haven't had it.
Councilman Vasanella?
We had a meeting just prior to the last council meeting, I believe. I gave an update on, and I think next month, we have a meeting next month. There was none the last couple of weeks.
Okay, thank you. Land Use, Open Space, Parks, and Recreation Committee. Councilman Wright.
Well,
Councilman
wait,
Chase.
it doesn't matter because we didn't have a meeting last month. And as for Public Works, we're meeting tomorrow.
Okay. I'll try and be there. Okay, thank you. All right, so that's it for standing committee reports. We now come to item 10, council comments. I think I'm on this side this time, right? Okay. Oh, this one? Okay. Councilman Prasad.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I wanted to note that Senator Lautenberg's passing was a big loss for the state of New Jersey. He really served this state for 30 years and was a friend of Franklin and visited us many times. So it is a loss for Franklin. And whoever gets to replace him, I hope, will continue in that tradition. The sidewalks issue that Ms. Moravec brought up is something that we need to address and find a solution for. If it is $90,000, we've got to find a way to fund it. And if it's a capital improvement or whatever, we'll have to find ways to. So we've got to get creative on that, but find a solution for our shut-in elderly people. And the same thing with the transportation for our shut-ins. We need to implement that transportation study and think about the seniors that we attracted to this town. And as they get older, they will require help in transportation. And so we need to think ahead of the needs of the residents and try to find some means, a cost-effective means of supporting them. To the Deputy Mayor's point, I was also at the water plan implementation presentation and was very impressed with our water manager, Howard, and he's a valuable asset to the town. And I firmly believe that the infrastructure and the water are two things that the town needs to do to make sure that there's a uninterrupted supply of quality water. And it is more of a long-term capital investment, and we have to have a strategic plan, which we have in place. But now, given all the years of neglect, we need to catch up on it. We've seen pipes that are half corroded and blocked, and so they could go any time. It's not as bad as New York City, where you hear of a water main break every day, but we want to prevent that from happening. So for that, I would request the manager to come up with a recommendation, and then we think about ways of funding it, and we'll all work together towards that. And I will be out the next meeting because I have a business meeting that was scheduled 3 years in advance, so I have to be at that. Yeah. There's 8,000 people getting together in Boston from around the world, so I have to be there. And
8,000 people, they won't miss you.
yeah, and my congratulations to the mayor on his primary victory for the
Oh, my.
New Jersey Senate. Now that the U.S. Senate seat has opened up, maybe he should throw his hat in the ring for the U.S. Senate as well. So with that, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Carl Wright.
Mr. Mayor, I'm going to be short and quick. I'm going to save most of my comments for the Hamilton Street Business District when they come up to speak. Just a little note about the Recreation Department. We are moving with Middlebush Park. That should be almost on our autopilot, so that's moving along. And Catalpa, or the Southern End Park, that Councilman Chase wants to see completed, that's also moving forward. We finished the soil testing, wet areas, so I just want to say to Councilman Chase, we're on that program. And to everyone that lives down the First Ward, coming soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Phil Kramer.
Yeah, I'd just like to point out that I have no PowerPoint presentation today, and that's all I have to
man.
say.
Oh, overall shock. Oh,
Yeah,
yes,
yes.
I was going to have a PowerPoint presentation demonstrating that I have none. Ran out of
this is
time.
not a PowerPoint presentation.
I thought, but you do have pictures from your last vacation.
I could do shadow puppet.
Councilman Ted Chase.
I wasn't going to make any comments, but I do have one thing to say about Mrs. Marata's request for a new bus line. I attend the meetings of the Central Jersey Transportation Forum as representative of the township, and New Jersey Transit has been preening itself on instituting a new line from really East Windsor to the Princeton Junction Station, and this is their first new bus route in 7 years. So I'm not too hopeful. Maybe I think we probably have a better chance with either the Dash line or the county line to get something on that stretch of Elizabeth Avenue, because that would be just more like a wiggle in an existing route. Other thing, today I attended the annual Sustainable Raritan meeting at the Edward Blaustein School, and heard a lot particularly about water quality improvement, how things have been improved over the last 40 years and what we can do to improve it further. And then I went for a cruise on the former oyster schooner A.J. Meerwald from Perth Amboy out into Raritan Bay and up the Arthur Kill, so that's why I was a little late getting here. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman James Vassanella.
Quick follow-up with the transportation situation. I wish it was easy, but as Councilman Chase said, that these things take a long time. What we can do, but we would have to subsidize it, is put into play the loop system that a committee I was involved with a few years back. I think that's what Bob was referring to might need to be slightly tweaked, but overall, the same needs that were there with the study that we got a grant from Rutgers Transportation, some division at the college that did the study with us, the needs haven't really changed. So if I remember, it was almost a $200,000 a year subsidy, and by subsidy I mean, by keeping the fare really low, what the cost would be, and that was done by an analysis in conjunction with RideWise. So I don't know where, and I don't know if what the majority of the public would want, but I think we have to at some point just look at whether or not the township wants to pay for. It's all a matter of priorities in the next budget cycle. So I guess Bob, the manager, will be bringing some more details. So if we want something, I think we're going to need to be putting it into play. And then if New Jersey Transit or the state does anything, that's just icing on the cake, and they can complement what would be kind of the backbone of our system based on our demographic. And that I found that study to be very accurate. Maybe at a point we can bring a modified version back to council if we get into that discussion. Because I believe about half the council presently that was prior to their service on council. On a more somber note, recently, unfortunately, we had a death in Franklin by way of an auto accident, and without going into details, just beware. This is the time of year people are out on motorcycles, and whether you like them or not, or ever rode them or not yourself, please be careful. We lost an 18-year-old, I believe, approximately 18-year-old Franklin resident very recent, the last few days, and I see a lot of near misses with motorcycles, and this happened to be Easton Avenue, which is just a traffic nightmare in my opinion anyway, but it could happen anywhere in town, so just be real careful, folks. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Brian Regan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a couple of points. So, as I mentioned earlier, based upon the request from one of our citizens, and they're talking, I did submit a resolution based upon some feedback from my fellow Democratic council people to put on to a resolution to vote tonight that we send to the governor, asking him to realign the special election that's being held on October 16th to be held with the standard election in November. As overall, this is going to cost the state somewhere around $20 million. It doesn't make sense to do it in October when it can really be done in November. I believe, in my personal opinion, that was a political move. Having said that, before all the Governor Christie fans start getting on my case, I will acknowledge the fact that I do appreciate the fact that he appointed a Republican to the Senate who announced that he is not going to run. So I think that was a very good move in the good sense of ours for the citizens of the state. So for anybody about to talk about my comments tonight, please remember they were balanced. There was a good thing I said about him, and there was a thing that he did that I didn't like. All right. Having said that, the next thing, over in the last couple of days, I've heard about how a senator is going to introduce into the Senate the ability to have a law put in place that allows, in a car accident that involves major damage or life, that the police would be able to have access to your phone records to see if you were on the phone. I personally am a supporter of this. I don't actually recall if the senator was a Republican senator, state senator, or a Democrat. It's not important to me. Right now I travel down to Trenton every day. I just started this, and I travel Canal Road. It is insane on Canal Road, people's driving habits, and especially when they are driving with one hand and talking on the phone in the other. I make a left coming up Blackwell Mills Road. I make a left onto Van Cleef, and I will tell you, 2 out of 5 times in the week, there will be a car that's sitting way out, going to make the left. The driver is sitting with a phone in their hand in one hand, and the hand on the wheel in the other. It is
first of all, it's illegal. It's just crazy that they're doing that, and they are putting many drivers at risk. I also drive a motorcycle. Many times when I drive, I am put at risk by drivers who are talking on the cell phones. I have, as you could go back in the records, I have made this issue an issue in the town. I actually forced, when I first came on, maybe a year ago, I spoke to the chief, who was very, very supportive of this, and the township manager, to have our own policies in place that our municipal employees are not allowed to talk on their cell phones when they are driving township municipal vehicles. So this, to me, is very important, and I will do a little more investigation on this and ask for, I will submit a resolution at the next council meeting that we support this effort. Whether that goes through or not is not important to me. Again, this isn't about whether a Republican is behind it or a Democrat. It's fundamentally about the safety. We have the ability. There's Bluetooth, there's hands-free. There really is an excuse. There is not an excuse to speak and hold the phone in your hand. I'm in the car a lot myself. I'm on the phone a lot. I have a hand-free free item, a suction cup that attaches to my windshield, and I also have a Bluetooth speaker. So I would encourage all that do it, but I can tell you that just in my daily travels here in town, this is something that is really going, it could be a problem. And we're only going to take it seriously. Unfortunately, history shows we only take these items really seriously when a young child is involved in an accident and that has been killed in it, because then people get outraged. We don't take it seriously when there's been a car accident, somebody's been hurt, or there's been physical damage to a car. It's sad to that level that we have to wait until something that terrible has to happen before we collectively, as a community, decide we want to do something about it. So I feel, as you could tell from my 3-4 minute discussion on this, I feel very strong and passionate about this, and we'll be following up with our township manager and the council to move forward on supporting this type of effort within the state. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Councilwoman Kimberly Francois.
Well, Councilman Reagan, I feel very passionate about that as well, because I personally have been impacted by that. My son was standing outside of a car, putting gas in the car, and a woman was on the cell phone, and she came by and ripped off his leg. So he lost his leg as a result of that. I don't know if you even knew that. So, yes, when I heard that proposition, I thought, it's about time. It's about time that we do something about it. If you are on the phone, whether you're hands-free or not, you're distracted. And she got out the car and said, "Oh my God, I just hit somebody. I have to get off the phone." So she didn't even know, she didn't even see him because she was on the phone talking. And she didn't even have the phone to her ear. Anyway, so I commend you for that. It certainly has hit home to me. I just want, on a very positive note, I want to commend the Hampton Chase Homeowners Association for their efforts. Today and throughout the year, they've been lobbying and really working hard to do their due diligence to figure out how they could have the township acquire their detention basin. And I think it was phenomenal that they came in here with a check for $130,000 to pay off the maintenance fees. And that, to me, that's a model of what residents in the township and citizens in the township should do to assist and work with the township in a win-win situation, so it's a better outcome for everybody. So that $130,000 will go towards the maintenance costs of retaining that stormwater facility. So I just wanted to say I really would have liked to comment to them and congratulate them for what they've done and all their hard work. And also, Councilman Kramer, I know that those people are in your ward, 3rd Ward, and I commend you for taking care of your residents. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Deputy Mayor Rosalind Sherman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to talk about my absolute favorite subject, and that's the Franklin Township Cultural Arts Council. On June 1st, we held two fantastic programs at Colonial Park. They were really first class. Unfortunately, with 95-degree weather, not a lot of people were in the park that day, so you missed a lot of good stuff. We'll probably think about doing it again next year, but we had a program in the Rose Garden that was magnificent. The roses were magnificent. It was beautiful. We had frames that you could photograph items through. We had people who were statues and posed in various classical paintings, and you could take pictures of those people. We had mimes. We had poetry reading. It was just an absolutely gorgeous event. It's visually gorgeous. The second event was over by the children's playground, and that was filled with music from many, many talented people here in the township. It was a fantastic amount of talent that we have here. We also had some nonprofit tables set up so people could come and learn about things that are going on in the township. Both events should have been enormously successful. Unfortunately, the weather worked against us, but we are not going to give up. We're going to try it again next year. Whenever you do an event outside, you always run that risk. So unfortunately, this time it didn't help us. But next time we're going to make another attempt, and hopefully it will work. We also are involved in the 4th of July event, which will be held on July 3rd, and we're helping line up entertainment. Right now, the lineup looks like it's going to be the band Reunited, who was performing last year. We also have a salsa band, so we want everybody up and dancing. We'll have the Korean dancers. We're going to have some folks from the villagers, and we're hopeful we'll get our high steppers, our senior tap dancers out to do a little welcoming in of the 4th of July. So last year, actually, the 4th of July was affected by the weather. I think it was like 102 degrees that day, so a lot of people didn't get out until about 7 o'clock, but hopefully that this year it won't be quite so severe, and you can get there at 6 when it starts, and you can hear and see all of the great entertainment we have lined up. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Now, for my comments, I'll just to echo, as Councilman Prasad said, the sad passing of Senator Frank Lautenberg, who was a U.S. Senator for the state for a long time, and the last World War II veteran in the United States Senate. Also, because he had a lot of good things, echoing Councilman Prasad, I think you're right with Ms. Moravec and people such as her. The sidewalks and the bus situation is certainly something it's upon us to look into. Addition, St. Charbel had a very good celebration over the last weekend. Congratulations and thank you to Father Anthony for putting on something such as that, and all the members there for all they contributed and do contribute to us. And also just happy Flag Day to everyone. I know some of our elementary schools have programs on June 14th. And that concludes my comments. So now we go to item number 11, council discussion items. 11A, the fiscal year 2014 Hamilton Street Special Improvement District budget request. So we have our special improvement district, and we'll probably have an explanation of it. So I guess, Mr. Pappas, you want to come forward and do that for us?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. I'm Mike Pappas, representing the board of the Hamilton Street Business District. Also here are Board President Remy Onishile, Vice President Vincent Petch, two other board members, Marge Alfrey and Jamie Yeh, and property owner, in addition to them, Mr. John Park from the Norris Shopping Center. If I could, I'd like to just make a couple of comments in highlighting the report that was submitted to the township several weeks ago. It had been provided to you probably through the township clerk's office, And I just want to, along with the proposed budget, I do see that you have a document that I dropped off earlier today, which I'll get to in a few moments, and one of our property owners is here to make a comment about it. The report that we submitted really was both a summary of the activities of the past year as well as the focus for the ensuing year. Property maintenance was listed as the first item last year as it is this year because the board feels, and we believe in communication with the property owners, that continued diligence about the enforcement of the property maintenance ordinance is very important. We have established, as I mentioned, I think last year, tremendous support and cooperation from the Township Code Enforcement Department, and we expect that that would continue. Public safety was something that we've certainly spoken with you about, continues to be an area of concern and interest. We, again, have appreciated the support by the Township Manager and the Police Chief and members of our force in responding to specific concerns that have been raised, and we certainly would appreciate the opportunity to continue a dialogue with you and your designees moving forward. Part of the public safety concern is something as simple as exterior lighting, and perhaps later in the discussion there might be a question about a specific proposal that we have to change a structure of how lighting is paid. One quick note about public safety, we kind of include the cleanliness of the business district as part of that, and again, the Township Public Works Department has been very helpful to us in regularly and without request ensuring that the trash receptacles that are along Hamilton Street are cleaned. Branding, it's a new term that seem to, in our country, use more and more. There was a photograph of a sign that was 4 signs, that gateway signs welcoming people into the business district that are included in your report, and we felt that that helps identify the geographic boundaries of the business district, and certainly that sign some form of it is being transferred into a logo that will be used more and more. Some of you may have even seen some signs along Hamilton Street, which I'll touch on later. I mentioned last year that we were in the process of seeking bids to update our website. We went through a process and the board awarded a contract, and the new website using the new technology available should be launched very, very quickly. One of the features that I want to specifically mention is the provision that every business within the business district will be given a web page. We understand in communicating with the businesses that there are some that have their own websites, but many of the more smaller operations don't. And we felt that it would be appropriate in this environment where internet-based communication and promotion of commercial enterprises are important, that would be something that's included, and that certainly is something that we are including and wanted to make note of that. General business assistance, we continue to be diligent in trying to respond to specific issues that people have. One of the things that we had heard from several of the property owners is condition of sidewalks because of trees, the planting of trees between the curbs and the sidewalks. The sidewalks would become uneven, and there was one gentleman, I'm told, that actually came to a council meeting a while back and said he had fallen. And so our board of trustees felt that the best use of some remaining community development block grant funds that had been originally designated for the purchasing of planters, concrete planters, would be to utilize this for replacement of some of the most severe sections of the sidewalk. The Township Engineering Department was, again, very helpful in ushering that and supervising it, and that was done last fall. Community relations is, in a sense, there's a correlation with business assistance because interacting with the community is important, but we also felt that it was important to look upon realtors as partners. And there have been a couple of efforts to do an outreach to realtors that had active listings within the business district, to hear from them. We felt we knew what the challenges were, but sort of confirm that, and to see if there were issues that perhaps our board and our leadership team didn't understand. And we've created a great dialogue, and as coincidentally, tomorrow we are having a business recruitment day from 10 a.m. until about 3 p.m. Meeting. The host is the Walgreens at the corner of Franklin Boulevard and Hamilton Street, and we've rented a small 24-passenger bus, and realtors have been invited. We are attempting to promote or generate a greater public awareness of properties that are for sale or rent within the business district. There are currently about 18 or 19, last count that I have, and the plan is every hour on the hour to meet at Walgreens, have the bus take people from sort of a short 1-mile bus route from place to place, stopping. If the property owner or the realtor is there to show the property, that will be done. If not, we have flyers about each of the vacancies, and then to bring them back in next hour to do the same. It was felt other business districts have done this successfully, as I've interacted with others, and the board felt that taking an action and trying to help the property owners to either make a sale or to fill a vacancy is a way to help the property owner and the business owner on a long-term basis versus necessarily having an event that might bring people into the area, but it was a more longer-lasting way of tangibly helping them. Partnerships is something that we, in a sense, with the realtors, we've tried to forge a greater degree, and I'd like to ask Jamie, who is one of our board members, to briefly talk about a partnership that really was prompted from the disaster last fall and some efforts to raise funds to help both residents and businesses. Jamie?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, member of council.
Keep yourself close to the microphone.
Is that okay?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
Our district's community outreach program approximately initiated about a year ago in the
Closer.
wake of the Hurricane Irene and also the 2012 storms. At such incidents, we have local members or residents who are temporarily displaced. When they got relocated to a certain location or the firehouse, there was no really supplies for them. So that kind of got us thinking, with the help of Councilmember Zanella, we initiated the effort through private fundings, through networking with churches and nonprofits. We're able to locate a small amount of grants that allow us to purchase emergency supplies. So at this point, we have small stock items of the MREs, water, blankets, and we're also in the process of getting more additional cots from the military side. So hopefully in the upcoming year or in the future, any localized event that's happened within district, we're able to assist. And on the technology side, we also developing the websites and the portals in the hope that with the new technology, we're able to push information coming from the township, coming from the Office of Emergency Management, to our vendors, to our residents, so that in case of emergency, people are aware of what's going on, road conditions, weather conditions, and so forth. And lastly, with the humanitarian efforts for the Hurricane Sandy, we're able to work with CBS News. We had collected and from California, flow in 900 pounds of clothing and supplies, and that was distributed to our residents within Franklin Township. And those supplies were gone within 2.5 hours. So that was tremendous success for us and a good encouragement. So we're hoping that these community efforts will continue and get the council support, and we're in the hope that we can also work with the Township OEM and the SERP program to push the program out throughout the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. Planning and infrastructure was another area, and almost done here, that we felt was important. The challenges that exist within the business district are not necessarily unique to the Hamilton Street area, but in our surveying other communities, the provisions, the perhaps densities, setbacks, other things that are in existence are tools that can be used to enhance the viability of an area. The vision that, and our board has discussed this, the vision that was established by the Township Council, the mayor, and the founding board members of the business district of the facade ordinance, which was approved, the streetscape vision, the lighting, or some of the lighting, the benches and so forth, the pavers, great. But the environment that we find ourselves today, and I've spent probably more than a year trying to determine what funding might be available to implement that from the county or from the state or the federal government. And tried to get the assistance of the municipal grants coordinator, the county grants coordinator, others, and the money just doesn't appear to be there. And so if the vision is still valid and still would be helpful, what's the alternative? And the two other alternatives. One is to raise the SID tax to fund it, which I don't think our board doesn't advocate for, and my assumption is I don't think you would, and I'm not here to ask for that. The other option is private sector. And so what we've done, we believe that through the provisions with perhaps some review of the existing land use policies and zoning ordinances, that what has been taking place over the last year in 4 specific properties that I'm going to mention through the application process, the Genesis project on the corner of Franklin Boulevard and Hamilton Street, $15 million investment. Our board reestablished a site plan review committee made up of 3 of our board members that now has the chance to review applications that come before the Township Planning or Zoning Board and make a written request and recommendations, and in this case, a request that the facade ordinance would be adhered to in a greater degree than what originally had been proposed by the architect of the applicant, and that the streetscape, the pavers along Hamilton Street would be extended from Norma Avenue down to Franklin Boulevard. And through that process, meetings we had with Pastor Soares and his representatives on site, as well as several meetings with the professionals that Mr. Healy facilitated for me. They did, in fact, agree to make some substantive changes to the facade of the building, both on Hamilton Street and Franklin Boulevard, as well as extend the pavers down from Norma Avenue to Franklin Boulevard along Hamilton Street, which we greatly appreciate. 3 other sites. One was at 821 Hamilton Street. The street address exists, the building doesn't, it's been raised. It's the vacant lot now that's next to the BP gas station near Shevchenko Avenue, between Shevchenko and Pershing. That is, again, an application that had been approved a while back. I'm told that there are going to be some changes, other changes proposed there. And then more recently, 2 sites, one at 527 Hamilton Street, which is directly opposite Brookline Avenue. The applicant there was asked to adhere to the facade ordinance as well as extend the pavers, has agreed to do so. And then the last one, I guess it was about a week ago, 507 Hamilton Street, the old Somerset Inn property. Gentleman came originally, I'm told, took title in January, was going to had inquired about demolishing the building, had a change of heart, has now gotten approval to renovate, probably in tunes of, I'm estimating, probably $1 million, all told, and again is going to extend the pavers along that portion, his frontage, as well as enhance the facade of the building. And we believe with these 4 as just examples, coming back here perhaps a year from now, the momentum we think from this kind of private sector investment will change the feel of Hamilton Street dramatically, and we hope that you will recognize that. I'm sure you do. We are trying to facilitate and help those property owners to the degree that we can to help them, to encourage them, to connect them with any other resource that would be helpful. And we believe that that is very exciting. Last thing, I'd like to ask John Park to come forward. His family owns the Nora Shopping Center. And several months ago, the County Planning Board had a program called Access Mobility. That's the report that I distributed. And we advocated for the inclusion of this property on Hamilton Street to be one of those that the county would, in a sense, provide a grant indirectly for a professional planning review of the site to try to enhance the mass transit options. We don't have a train station here, but we have a bus route. The county has extended and increased the bus routes up and down Hamilton Street. Now has extended one down to the New Brunswick train station. And this site, we believe, could really tie into that. And I'd just like John to speak to that if he could.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councilman, Councilwoman. Thank you, Mr. Pappas, for having me to speak in front of you. My name is John Park. My family owns Nora Shopping Center, which is a good-sized shopping center located on Hamilton Street. When we were actually looking to purchase that property about 4 years ago, we were doing our due diligence, and the whole area was somewhat run down. There aren't too many brand new buildings, but we thought that this was a great area because if you look around, we have a major university nearby. There's actually a major employer in Robert Wood Johnson Hospital nearby, and we figure that someday this whole area will thrive, and there will be businesses, and this is a great opportunity for us to make an investment. It has been about 4 years, and personally, I believe that the situation hasn't really improved that much. Obviously having a great recession and having a poor economy certainly have not helped. But we're still hopeful that with right investments, with a right organization, and also having a supporting staff and city and their council member, this could still work. I'm basically here to make sure that when you are reviewing the budget, I want to make sure that I make a comment that when there is a redevelopment or some sort of a organization, we need to have a body that could work as a conduit between private sector and also the city or the government, because you don't want to have some private person to just randomly put up buildings or develop something that may not be good for the overall health of the community. And I think in that sense, Hamilton District Business Corporation will serve as a right conduit and a organization to actually mediate and remedy that potential problem. Okay, thank you.
One thing I'd just like in closing, thank the parks. They have been very supportive in helping us financially to underwrite the promotion of the expansion of the bus routes. We've been successful in that. The county has extended one route and added another one, and they have helped us in conveying that information. So that's the presentation. Be happy to respond to any questions.
Okay, questions for Mr. Pappas or anyone there?
Just a comment. I'm
Yeah,
very
sure.
impressed by the presentation. I think there's great improvement in the process and what you're doing, and keep up the good work.
Thanks. They have a great board, and several of them are here and very interested.
Great. Well, we're happy to have you here.
Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, Councilman Regan, then Councilman Wright.
Go right ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So, Mr. Pappas, thank you very much for the presentation. As you know, I've asked for this, my comments were very clear over the last couple of meetings about, I would like to see a vision, goals, objectives. I believe that this is a great improvement from previous years, and, I have to at least my view would be attributed to you being added to that board, over in the last year. And I just appreciate the feedback you've taken. You didn't whine about it. You understood why we needed that as a council, that we have to see this type of information for us to move forward and to vote on it, because we get a lot of input, right? There's people who support it and there are people against it. And with this type of information, it's easier for someone like myself to stand up and support what you're doing, because now I have some data behind it and I have facts. So thank you very much for the role that you played in that.
Thank you. That's just one thing I wanted to mention about this access and mobility study. When we had the presentation here and Councilman Wright and Vasanella were present, one thing that Mr. Lane mentioned that I want to make sure I comment on is that this kind of a report and a study is very critical in being able to then access federal funding to implement portions of this. And frankly, when Mr. Healy made me aware of this, we were all over it, because this is probably one of the few areas where there can be some grant money for a piece of the redevelopment of this property that John Park and family are interested. They did a great job in adding those new signs last year. We've done some other things. The county has helped in some of the right-of-way issues that they've had, and they are partnering in so many ways, and we were thrilled that this, among, I think, 50 sites that were submitted, Franklin got 2 of 8 from the whole county. And so Mr. Healy was great in helping to usher this, but the reality of the need, I think, also spoke for itself.
Okay, Councilman Wright and Councilman Prasad.
I would just, as a member of the Hamilton Street, I don't always attend the meetings, but I always talk to the executive director, Mike, and the president, who's now sitting in the back, Remy. They're moving in the right direction. And as a council, that's what you look for. It may not move tomorrow, but we're starting to see some movement there. Everyone's going in the right direction. So I just want us to keep moving. The budget and everything that's part of that movement, I think we as a council, if you've been on that street, if you've come to the meetings, you know exactly where we're going and how we're going to get there. I believe as Councilman Reagan said, the paperwork behind where we're going in 2013, how we're going to get there, it was all spelled out for us. So with the budget, with the direction of where we're going, I just believe that we should all get behind Hamilton Street and move this forward. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Prasad?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I met with the new executive director, Mr. Pappas, and I applaud the whole business district and its leadership for what they have accomplished. We still need a vision and a strategic vision. And I'm talking about something along the lines of what happened with the New Brunswick Redevelopment Corporation, where we look at it and redevelop the whole thing and bring in a lot more, and there's a dire need for it, is student housing. We got Rutgers right next door, and they could literally extend their buses for the students to come in. And beyond that, we got Robert Wood Johnson there, and their employees need housing close by. And we should really look at a grander vision of how we could develop Hamilton Street along the lines of what happened in New Brunswick. I came there in 1977, and the place was ready to be condemned. And Johnson & Johnson was ready to move to North Carolina. So with that, the New Brunswick Redevelopment Corporation was formed, and there was a major commitment made. But now they've run out of space in New Brunswick, and you can easily extend all that into Hamilton Street and benefit from it. So not only the hospitals, but the Rutgers University, and you could have multi-use where you could have retail, offices, and residential development. And if you bring in the people and the students, you're going to have demand and you have work for everybody. And so everything that the Hamilton Street is looking for in terms of additional dollars coming in will all happen. And we just don't need one Sophie's on Hamilton Street. We need 10 of them and make it a destination. If you go to Europe, a lot of the downtown areas are actually, people come from the suburbs into the downtown areas, and we ought to think about those, along those lines, and have that vision and look at a public-private partnership and reach out to some of the Rutgers University as well as Robert Wood Johnson and Johnson Johnson and see what we can do. But we need a vision, a map of what we can do and go implement it. This is one, and I firmly believe our riverfront and the canal is another area that we have underutilized, and we may need to redevelop that whole area as well to capitalize on the riverfront and the recreation and other opportunities along the lines of canal. Well, it's in Georgetown, along the canal, they redeveloped that whole area, and it could be done here also. So it's just a question of having the vision and implementing it, and it doesn't have to come out of the Franklin coffers, but there are investors willing to come if there's a vision, and if we are welcoming them. So we may have to rezone some of the things, but let's have that vision and help everybody in the long term. So it took Johnson Johnson 20, 30 years to get where they are today, but New Brunswick is thriving today. Thank you.
Thank you. I think within probably the next couple of months, we will be probably coming back here with some report that we've actually commissioned, and hope that that would respond to that specific suggestion that you've made.
Great, thank you.
Okay, Councilman Vasanella?
And just quickly, in reference to Councilman Prasad, I know you and I have talked about this. Wisely, Michael is not throwing out all of the irons in the fire and all of the, there's been conversations, there's been some groundwork. And say your vision, the vision we all want, which is similar to what you just laid out, different versions, is a long way off, but little pieces of it are happening right now as we speak, and bigger pieces are in the works. But again, wisely, we take it as concrete items happen. But just real quick, I guess about a year and a half you've been here, Mike, as the executive director, going on to almost 2 years. I think, getting there 2 years. The first year really was a tough transition year. Anybody that's been deeply involved with it over the last decade realizes that. And as much as it seems to a lot of people that it may be taking longer than it needs to, the progress that has been made is just undescribable. The Site Plan Review Committee, it sounds like a little thing, and you described it in a very formal context, but basically, years past, if someone was building something on Hamilton or wanted to build something, a lot of times we wouldn't even know, let alone know what they wanted to build. It was kind of chasing after stuff. Several members and myself said, look, I know when we sat down with you when you first started, and use that as an example, we need to have that communication. We need to be out in front. We need to be the conduit that was referred to before, and we have become that. And I remember, I forget his exact words, but at the groundbreaking for Reverend Sori's the project of Franklin and Hamilton, and I think I asked him afterwards if, what he thought of our comments, because, we support development, but we want it to be in line with our vision. And he, if I remember his words, he said, no, actually it was helpful. They were good. I think our building is better now because of what you did. And now that there is building, and significant building for Hamilton Street happening, that's the concrete part. The realtors, we always said there's no connection with the realtors, and people may be interested in bringing them together. So I just want to commend you. You didn't do it alone. People like Jamie and Vinny and Remy and Marge, everyone in the parks are unpaid, and they work hard. But obviously, we needed a leader to do this. So I don't want to keep going on and on, but this is going to be a very intriguing year, and maybe even before a year from now, you can come back in the fall, especially if some of these items start to get traction. So thank you, and keep the information coming to us as a council as a whole. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Chase.
I just wanted to mention to the rest of the council, and I know Mr. Pappas is well aware of it, that the planning board just approved this proposal at 507 Hamilton Street to renovate the old Somerset Inn building to make it a full 3-story building with a pharmacy on the ground floor and medical offices on the upper 2 floors. So we really hope that this is the first step in the kind of expansion of the medical penumbra of the hospitals into Franklin Township, and that this will stimulate business on Hamilton Street.
And just, Mayor, just to add, because there may be people out there, as conversation about Hamilton, there was a direction of, we were moving towards, I believe, that where the building was going to be demoed. So people who may be wondering, because that was some of the last words that were put out there, the building is going to be renovated, which was the priority, or I think the wishes of most people. However, if it wasn't going to be renovated, it needed to be torn down for safety reasons. So for the people out there, it may take a little longer, but it's been approved, as Councilman Chase said, and that will be a real cornerstone for that area. And maybe someday we'll have another neighborhood bar, which is fine too, but that's the type of, seriously, but that's the type of progress we need with medical offices. So let's keep our fingers crossed with that one.
Okay, Councilwoman Francois.
Yeah, I'd like to just say that I know we always talk about vision and mission, but what you've presented here today, to me, looks like a strategic plan. And I commend you for the assistance that you're providing to businesses, the outreach to realtors to attract businesses, for recruitment, the planning on the infrastructure that you have in your plan here, and also your partnerships that you formed in that area. And your build and your no-build improvements. So a strategic plan provides goals and objectives, and it's a very tactical action plan to achieve certain things, to move you towards a vision. So while you're developing your vision, I commend you on your strategic plan. Very nice job. Thank you. Good work.
Thank you.
Okay, I agree with the board, Mr. Pappas. It's Hamilton Street obviously is better, looks better, and we see that there is a vision for it going forward, as was said. So that's very admirable, commendable. We look forward to seeing how it evolves over time. Good work from all of you putting your minds to it, coming up with something.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So we come to item 11B on the agenda, possibility of rescheduling some township council meetings. This is two different items. One was alluded to before. There is now to be, but under court challenge, so we'll see the final results, a primary for the United States Senate to fill the vacated seat from the death of Senator Frank Lautenberg for Tuesday, August 13th, which is our council meeting. So one of the issues is our clerk cannot be in two places at once, and
I'm sorry.
I think we should just put it in her job description and make her do it.
You're a master
Let's
clerk.
split myself in half.
Yeah, that's right. She's a master clerk now. She should be able to be in two places.
That was part of the requirement, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You have a thingamajig you wave or something.
plus we don't usually have that on the same night. So, number one, we could potentially, well, we have to move it if the primary is that date. Number two, unrelated, the Board of Ed has suggested a special election based for, I guess, building, new building and improvements such as that for September 24th. They have not voted on that yet.
No,
So we don't have to.
they changed their
Yeah,
minds.
missed a minute.
They moved it to December.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
I was
that's-
at the last Board of Ed, and that got moved.
And actually, it may not even be December. They may push it to 2014, but if it is in December, it'll be December 10th, which is your council meeting.
Yeah.
So we should move this council meeting to December 10th?
I wouldn't worry about the Board of Ed one until we get some
Yeah.
definite clarification as to if they're going to have it in December, because I spoke with Mr. Calavano this afternoon, and they're waiting to hear if they get state funding. before they actually set the election date, so we can
Okay,
wait
Mr.
on that
Mayor.
one. It's just the August primary that you need to deal with.
okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, that's off the table.
I was at the last BOV for a
Okay.
different item, and they definitely moved it from.
Okay,
They
thanks.
voted
I
not
wasn't
to
aware
have,
yet.
to not have it in September.
Okay, that one's done then. So now for August 13th, if that does go through, again, court challenge, but we'll see what happens, it conflicts. So we can move it forwards or backwards. Now this is, I'll just chime in personally, then we can all say it. Usually late July, early August, I kind of block that off so that, well, plan things for that time, because I know we're not having our meeting, so I'm not in a good position to move it backwards. That's just me personally. Week doesn't have to be a Tuesday, it could be further in the week, but I'd suspect 14th is a little tight because, again, the clerk's just coming off of a full election, even though it's most likely not to be as tight as a general election. There's still all the districts here. So do we want to send suggestions to the clerk or kind of pick it now?
For what?
What is, exactly, Mayor, is the question?
Given we're all here, I'd like to
Just
try to
move that.
find a date tonight. So I'll throw the first volley,
Go ahead.
August 6th, first Tuesday. I have a sewage authority at 6:30, but I could be here for the majority of the meeting.
Yeah, see, this just, that week, this is just me personally, doesn't work because, again, I kind of booked things for that week because I knew we weren't having a meeting in the end of July.
Okay, so all in favor of August 6th? No,
But don't,
I'm kidding.
but don't
So-
let me be the deciding factor. Every day of the year will be a problem for somebody. I'm just putting mine out.
So, Mayor,
Yes. Councilman Vasanella?
the 13th is out.
Yes.
Is there any other, I know you got prep work and everything else, but what is the closest date to the 13th that works for?
Well, we could do August 15th. I'll move August 15th.
That would be Thursday. Wednesday's a planning board meeting, I assume?
We,
Okay, so Thursday is the first practical
good one?
time, and we've done them on Thursdays before. I
just move it. That's recovery
mean, I
time, Ms.
can't
McCarthy.
swear my schedule,
Oh, that's
but
fine.
I'll be on
if the
vacation,
most
but-
people, oh, okay, well,
No, but I mean, like, somebody's going to be on vacation, so, like.
well, is Monday the 12th work better, or is
Oh,
that
no,
was?
actually, I think
There is no way, if this meeting goes on the 12th until like 11 o'clock, and for me to be back here at 5 in the morning, I can't, I'm sorry, but
But
I
you're a
admit I
master
can't do
clerk
it.
now. You should be able to
Well,
do that.
well, no,
Mass
just
or-
quickly in response to that, if,
We agree to have the meeting end at 8 o'clock on the 12th?
well,
Would that
Yeah,
work for you?
yes, we can agree to that. Will it happen?
If you agreed to end it at 8 o'clock on the 13th, then we don't have to change it.
Now, let me-
but I-
so, could I just respond, since you brought up
no,
Monday, real quick?
Actually, the suggestion of Councilman Kramer to start on the 15th, I don't think there's objection to that unless someone's got a better one.
No, okay, Mayor,
Go ahead, Councilman Vasanella?
Thursday's a possibility, I just wanted to clarify.
Oh, go ahead.
You know how your office and scheduling works. As much as we love having you here, is it where
My
it's
whole office
impractical to
works.
have, so the Monday's closed down for everything, Monday
Yeah, I
night's going to
mean,
be hectic. Okay,
Everybody in my office is
Okay.
involved in the election,
Okay,
so there
good
won't be
enough.
anybody.
And then some extras also.
And
sounds like
extras, yes.
Thursday.
Well, is the Thursday, is...
That's fine.
Okay,
Yeah,
you
that's
will
fine.
have recovered from the
Yeah.
election?
Yeah, it's just that, I've done a council meeting and an election 2 days in a row in another municipality. Yeah, it was very difficult to get home at midnight and then to have to drive back and be back 5 hours later. So I'm not to say that we're going until midnight, the night before, but you never know.
We could do it on the 15th, we'll just downgrade Anne Marie from a master clerk to a semi-master clerk.
That's fine.
Okay. If we did on Monday and we promised to end before 5 a.m. when the election started.
Then I could just stay here 48 hours, that's good.
Okay.
Kidding around about
All right, so I think
Monday.
we're settling on the 15th.
15th. If there's no objection, want to do that,
Fine.
15th?
Yeah.
Okay. If somehow court moves that, we'll revisit it, but that's it for now. And,
Well, the primary, I don't think it's an issue with the primary date, I think it's the issue with the election.
General?
Correct.
Oh,
Because
Yeah, it's
the
definitely-
primary has to occur.
It's definitely happening.
Good point, you're right, very good point, very good point.
Yeah.
You're correct.
So unless for some reason doesn't happen, this is the new date.
Okay, good.
We'll go with
All right.
Let me make sure what we're going to do.
August
We're
15th.
going to pass a resolution amending the
Right.
calendar for the year, so.
Correct.
This is not a question of if we do that, then if you decide to change it back, we're gonna have to do something different. It's not a, in case I hear from you further, it's that date. That's really the date.
Do we need to vote on it now, or we can
Is
just all
that
agree?
considered a vote now, or do we have to pass it kind of
Well,
officially?
even if you did it on a voice vote, we're gonna have to
I
publish.
still have to publish.
She's
it.
gonna have to publish you have to take a formal vote because you have to, we're essentially
In
amending
July.
the meeting schedule by
Or-
resolution.
Okay.
Okay,
Next meeting.
so should we do that now?
Yes, we should.
Yes.
Okay.
August
So I'll take
15th,
what
5
Councilman
a.m.
Kramer, I'll take that as a
Seconded.
motion,
Se-
since you,
7
you said
PM.
it first. That's,
What?
no, I said Councilman Kramer said it, so I'll take it as a motion from him.
Yep.
And Mr. Prasad has seconded it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, to move the,
Mr. Regan had
August
said
meeting
that
date because of what
5
we
a.m.,
scheduled?
and I said, no, 7 PM.
from the 13th to the 15th, 7 PM, council chambers. Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstain? It is carried. Thank you very much. That went kind of smoothly. And next, scheduled Board of Health meeting date. The council is the Board of Health. I guess we've got another one of those meetings coming up. So, was there a suggested date to start? Do we need it in particular?
How
frame?
about August 15th?
The Advisory Board of
October.
Health has
6 p.m.
suggested either one of the meetings in September or October. Because they figure, July was not good for them, and they figured August, there'd be a lot of people on vacation.
So how about this,
Suggestions?
Mayor, I would,
Oh,
I would.
and I'm just going to
I'm sorry,
interject,
go ahead.
just to ask. I think it was said here, often we'll have it at an hour before a regular
Correct.
meeting, so that's certainly a possibility. Councilman Vasanella, go ahead.
I would just suggest sometimes the first meeting get a little busy because of the only one meeting in August. So maybe the second meeting in September would be,
You're suggesting September 24th, 6 PM, is that right?
yes. And if for any reason, gives us a cushion if it had to be bumped to October, but we go on record with that as the new agenda.
Okay, any other suggestions, or,
It's based on the information that the clerk had sent us. That's what I'm recommending.
sounds,
I second the
okay,
recommendation.
moved and seconded then. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstain? It's carried. So 6 PM on the 24th of September, we'll have our Board of Health meeting. Excellent. Okay, so now we come to item number 12, approval of the minutes. The minutes of the work session, regular meeting of April 9th, 2013, are presented to the Township Council. Is there a motion for the aforementioned minutes?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Ms. McCarthy, please pull the council on the minutes of April 9th, 2013, please.
Councilman Chase,
Yes,
Councilwoman Francois,
Yes.
Councilman Kramer, Mayor Levine,
Yes.
Councilman Prasad,
Yes.
Councilman Regan,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sherman,
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella.
Yes.
Councilman Wright.
Okay, motion is carried. We next have item 14, public hearing and ordinance, and adoption of ordinances on second reading. We do not have any.
Oh, warrants.
Pardon me?
Forgot the warrants.
Warrants.
Did I miss them?
Yes.
Oh, I'm trying to save us money.
Didn't-
Okay, never mind.
I believe we
Okay.
have to pay people.
Oh, okay. Warrants, pardon me.
It's a terrible thing to do, but we have to.
Thank you. Warrants are the bills that we pay. Warrants in the amount of $1,524,430.52 on June 11th, 2013 are presented to the Township Council for payment. Is there a motion to pay the warrants as read?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Ms. McCarthy, please poll the council on payment of the warrant.
Councilman Chase,
yes,
Councilwoman Francois.
Yes.
Councilman Kramer.
Yes.
Mayor Levine,
Yes.
Councilman Prasad.
Yes.
Councilman Regan,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sherman,
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella.
Yes.
Councilman Wright.
Okay, motion is carried. So now we have 14, public hearing and adoption of ordinances on second reading. We do not have any for this evening. So we have item 15, ordinances on introduction and first reading. Ordinances are usually voted on twice. They're first voted on as an introduction, and usually the next meeting or two after that, they're voted on a second time at that second meeting. There's a public hearing, meaning anyone can comment on that particular ordinance. If it passes a second time, then it goes into law. So we have 2 ordinance introductions today. One of them was done earlier, which just leaves one of them left, of course. So we have item 15A on the agenda, which is ordinance 4024-13, an ordinance authorizing the acquisition of certain real property identified on the township's tax map.
We did that.
We did that one.
Oops, let me try that again. Back up. Oh, wow. I'm slipping here.
4024-13.
Okay, take 2. Thanks. 15A, ordinance, just stop me if I don't get this right. 4024-13, an ordinance to amend the code of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, more particularly Chapter 226, Vehicles and Traffic, Section 226-13, parking prohibited at all times on certain streets, and Section 226-34, mid-block crosswalks. This is no parking on I think it's one side of Fuller Street, right? It's close proximity to RPM's development. It's kind of a narrow street, that's why it's only parking on one side. This comes to us from our Public Safety Committee, and an ordinance is required to do that.
Interesting.
So I think there was a crosswalk there, but we found out that it wasn't actually memorialized in a vote?
That's correct. Apparently sometime many years ago, a former occupant of the building along Veronica Avenue in the area of this crosswalk, it would appear installed their own crosswalk, also installed their own signs, which was to benefit their employees and make it safer. However, what we've found is that there was never any supporting legislation either here or at the state to support that crosswalk. So therefore, we're moving forward with it now.
Okay, the foregoing ordinance is presented to the Township Council for adoption on first reading, posting, publication in accordance with law, and public hearing and final adoption on Tuesday, June 25th, 2013, at 7 o'clock p.m. here at the Municipal Complex. Is there a motion to introduce?
So moved.
Second.
And second. Madam Clerk, please poll the council on item 15A, ordinance 4024-13, please.
Councilman Chase?
Yes, I was going to ask why, since the cover letter merely recommended the sidewalk, but our manager has explained why.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Councilman Kramer?
Yes.
Mayor Levine?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Councilman Regan?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sherman?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
The crosswalk, yeah.
Just A and B.
Where's it?
I live on Fuller Street.
I mean, your mic's not on.
I live on Fuller Street, and I believe that's something that's coming up as far as the movement of parking on both sides of the street. So to our counselor, do I vote on that?
This is a crosswalk?
No.
No parking.
No parking.
I thought it was just, is it the whole of Fuller Street or just that first block?
Just that first
Yeah.
block.
Yeah,
If it's just the first block, then you don't front on it.
I can vote?
If he's
Absolutely.
Okay, good vote. Okay, now we come, and we did item 15B before introduction earlier for Hampton Chase. We now come to item 16, the consent agenda. Items Councilman Wright, please.
I would like to pull out from our consent agenda, number W, 13298.
Okay, so W gets a separate vote.
It's conflict because it's a letter and not a number?
So we can abstain on it.
Okay. Okay, so the consent agenda, it's items A through Z, are presented to the Township Council. A consent agenda, they're items of a generally routine nature that can be voted on at one vote, and it's any council person's prerogative to ask something be taken off for a separate vote, and Councilman Wright has asked Item W, Resolution 13-289, Franklin Pop Warner Fund Day, to be taken for a separate vote. So the items remaining, A through Z, with the exception of W, as listed on the consent agenda portion of this meeting, are presented to the Township Council for adoption. Is there a motion for it or discussion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Ms. McCarthy, please poll the council on the consent agenda with the exception of item W, please.
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Councilman Kramer?
Yep.
Mayor Levine?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Councilman Regan?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sherman?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
We haven't-
Okay, motion is carried. We next have, now come to item W. Pardon me. Resolution 13-289, authorize issuance of special event permit, Franklin Township Pop Warner Fun Day, Saturday, August 17th, 2013, 11 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Mr.
So
Mayor,
moved.
Yes, Councilman Wright.
I would just like to mention that I'm involved with Pop Warner, have been for the last 25 years. And as the voice of Franklin Township Pop Warner, I would like everyone to come out, hang out with us. If you have any little kids that want to play football, from 5 on up, not including high school, if they want to come out, this is the place to come. This is where you want to meet the coaches. So please, come on out to Franklin Township Pop Warner Football and enjoy. Thank you. Oh, and thank Councilman Kramer, who volunteered to be there along with everyone else. I appreciate that, Councilman Kramer.
You said I was wearing a mascot uniform or something?
We won't get into that now.
I'll save that for another night.
Okay,
So moved.
Second it.
moved and seconded. Madam Clerk, please poll the council on item W, 16W, Resolution 13-289, please.
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Councilman Kramer?
Yes.
Mayor Levine?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Councilman Regan?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sherman?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Absolutely.
No, I thought you were, oh,
I thought you
we
weren't
were
going to vote.
abstaining. Oh, you
Huh?
said yeah? Oh, you wanted?
No, he just was highlighting.
Oh, I thought it was.
Oh,
conflict.
that's
I'm
why
sorry.
he wanted to.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, my goodness.
A commercial
Yes, thank you.
as the voice of Franklin.
Right, public service.
That special vote was
Yeah.
brought to you by the Pop Warner.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you, Rick.
Oh, my goodness.
Little advertisement, yeah.
And Carl
Okay,
Ryder.
pardon me, okay. Okay, so now we come to item number 17, resolutions voted on separately. We've got Resolution 13-291, respectfully request October 16th, 2013 special election for Senator Lautenberg's seat to be changed to coincide with general election, or said special election be state-funded. Councilman Regan, did you want to move or discuss this?
So, I pretty much said what I said about it, is that I think that on this one, that I really disagree strongly with the governor's position on this, as a number of other council members have brought it to my attention. So, I think that, for the additional 20 million that's going to happen, just combine it. So, I know, Mr. Mayor, you're very strong on, our finances, and in this last budget, you didn't pass it because of $1 million for roads and this and that. So here's, an opportunity where we have $20 million that's going to be an extra expenditure that really is not needed at the state. They could just combine it. So I'm hoping to hear your support on this tonight. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Not to mention the money that's going to come out of our budget to support the election, which is about $20,000.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay. Councilman Regan, I'll take that as a motion for the resolution?
Yes, please.
Second it.
Okay. Okay, anyone else on this one? Madam Clerk, please poll the council on item 17A, Resolution 13-291, to request a special election for Senator Lautenberg's seat from his sad passing to be changed to coincide with general election or be funded by the state.
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Councilman Kramer?
Yes.
Mayor Levine?
No.
Councilman Prasad,
Yes.
Councilman Regan,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sherman,
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella,
Yes.
Councilman Wright.
Okay, motion is carried. I guess that goes to the state or whomever we
The
send that to.
governor.
The governor.
The governor's office. Okay.
The governor will note that you voted no.
He knows already.
She texted.
We can let you add a dissenting opinion.
And apparently the federal government is monitoring my internet use, so they know too.
Okay, so next we have item 18, old business, 2013 boards and commission appointments. Are there nominations or anything?
I have a
Councilman
question,
Kramer, please.
or maybe this is what you were about to,
Yeah, I
I'll
think.
defer to
Okay.
Councilman Chase.
Madam Clerk, in the minutes of the April 17th Planning Board meeting, which was a meeting I wasn't at, it said that they accepted the resignation of Charles Alderman as alternate member of the Planning Board. Have you been formally informed of this? Is this a vacancy which we can now fill?
It's on our list.
Yes, and it's on your list.
Okay.
Okay, so any nominations then?
No, just a comment.
Okay,
There's a
Councilman
gentleman who
Prasad.
had submitted his volunteer application a while back, and we never acted on it, and he came up to me today and submitted another, resume. And the clerk will circulate it to the council, and if you see appropriate, we should try and find him an opportunity to serve. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anything else on this?
No.
Okay. Next, we have item 19, executive session, of which none is planned and none
It's
going to be
unplanned.
filled, and none unplanned either. Which brings us to item number 20, adjournment. Have we a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? We are adjourned. Thank you very much, and be well.